I want to snort Damel's voice. It would have the same effect as Coke, to be honest. That's pretty funny. Like, he does have a good voice.
Hey, it's your guy Ren. Welcome to Cinema Slime, the podcast for film lovers who can't stop talking about the movies that move us, confuse us, or just make us want to yell at the screen. I'm joined, as always, by my brilliant co-hosts Harrison and Scott.
How was your grocery shopping experience?
So fun. Oh my god.
There's nothing better.
No, it was fine. I just throw on like an audiobook or some music and just flies right by. Though, what is it? Yesterday, I went shopping yesterday, and 4 times in a row, I went and I put all my food on the belt for them to check it out. And as soon as I put it all down, Nicole texted me. She was like, "Hey, actually, can you get X and Y?" And
Dude, that happens.
You're like, okay. So like, I picked it all up, put it back in my cart, went and found those things, came back, and it happened again, and then it happened a third time, and I was just like, okay, like what's going on here? It was an experience.
Paige, if you're listening, cover your ears. But I've been known to say that I'm already in the car.
Yeah, I've told that many a time.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I think I get that.
I've learned something about myself. I get anxious when I do 2 things. One of those is doing any work on my own car. I hate it. Second is grocery shopping, and Allie will give me like 4 or 5 things on a list. She'll even text it to me, and I'm just like, oh god, oh no, what aisle? Every store I go to is different than the last one. I hate it.
What happens if you have to go buy parts for your car?
I don't do that anymore.
No.
I literally don't do that anymore.
So Harrison, I told Ren that if we ever need a filler episode, we'll do K-pop Demon Hunters.
I'm
ready.
down.
I think it's
I'm
worthy.
so down.
I think it's worthy of an episode, but I'm not going to twist any arms.
I'll contemplate if I need to twist arms then, because I think it's a great movie. I mean,
Yeah.
Scott, I'm gonna say this: my favorite scene in that whole movie is when she's crying popcorn and the gal's eating it as it's coming out of her eyeballs. I thought that was
Mine was
That sounds funny.
Mine was so funny.
The sequel to that when she's like, no more abs, and like slices his stomach.
She's just like beating the crap out of that guy. Yeah, it's pretty.
So
Yeah, that movie shouldn't be good, but I basically loved it.
Good. I'm glad.
The other day, Cash was sort of being just kind of like secretive, and he was like whispering something to Allie, and then he like went upstairs, and I was like, "What was that?" She was like, "Oh, he just wants to go watch something upstairs." And I was like, "Okay." Anyways, some time goes by, and then I go up in my room and I look over, and they're like on their like stomach, like holding their chin, like staring at the TV. Him and Knox are there, just total silence. And I look over and they're watching K-pop Demon Hunter. I was like, wow, you're like secretly watching this. So there must be something.
He's just enamored by them.
Yeah, I think he's like embarrassed. He's like, this is not my jam, but
Yeah, that's how I felt about it.
That's how I feel right now. Yeah,
absolutely not my jam, but I freaking loved it.
Did you guys have like a movie or like a TV show that you're like, yeah, I'm 14 and I'm still watching this? Like, I'm still watching Arthur at 15 and I'm loving every episode. I don't care what anyone says.
It was really hard for me to drop like Pokemon and Digimon. Like, I think they both kept pulling me back and forth, and it just prolonged my exit. I'll admit that.
Dragon Ball
there you
Z.
go.
Yeah, I never got into that.
No, honestly, for me, like I definitely watched Arthur for probably 3 or 4 years, too long in terms of like the age recommendation to watch it. But no, like honestly, I still get pulled in, and like I watched Pokemon, like the first season of Pokemon, like 2 years ago, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Like it's just just like a fun nostalgic trip, and there's some really cool episodes in there. So
yeah, I was showing my boys the Pokemon show, and like the song started playing, and I was like, oh my god, and I just had to like walk away, but then I walked back and listened to it.
There you go.
And then you walked away, went into the bathroom, and then like cried.
No, I hummed it for like 4 weeks. Just kept humming it, and then I would like replay every rap, because like it took like 4 different episodes to complete the whole rap song. And I'd hear like part 2 and like go all the way into 3 and 4 and be like, I'm pretty smart. I still remember
Yeah.
all these.
It's like stuck in your head.
That's my barometer. I'm smart.
Yeah. What was it? The big moment for me in Pokemon that I really distinctly remember was when season one is rolling and everyone's like, okay, we have the 151. That's all there is, blah, blah, blah. And then the movie, Pokemon, the movie came out, the first one. And one of the very first scenes is a trainer throws out a Donphan, like a brand new Pokemon that you've never seen before. And I remember, however old I was probably older than I think, but in my head, it comes out and you're just like, oh, what's happening? Like my whole world is shattered. Like it was a huge monumental moment to me as a kid.
I remember that. I recently passed down. From the movie premiere of the Pokemon movie, I had a gold-plated Togepi card.
Yeah.
And I passed it down to Cash, and he doesn't appreciate. But it's okay. He keeps it in the case.
I can't get Hawkins to care about Pokemon either.
He's deep in the Minecraft game, as is every other child.
We just had like an absolute. They were playing multiplayer, and then Dodger didn't want help, but Hawkins wanted him to do something, and so they like threw fists at each other, and I took the console away, and Hawkins just absolutely melted down and screamed at me and like ran into the room and just sobbing when I left. And I was like, Paige, you got this? She's like, yeah, I got it. I was like, okay.
Is there like a full moon last night? Because this morning, Knox was playing Zelda, and he's like, how do I get to the water temple? And I'm like, dude, you're like still young. And I'm like trying to, anyways, long story short, I was like, you have to play this game in order. It's not like Breath of the Wild where you can just go all over the world on the map and do whatever. And he squealed. He was so mad that I like wouldn't help him. So I just snatched the Switch, and it was tough.
It's like, bro, you gotta stop.
And I'm like, dude, you 0 to like 101. Like you gotta work right in between those two numbers somewhere.
Please. Put up the bumpers. Please don't. Please don't hit the gutter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Now I got pretty lucky. My kids actually had their first day of school. It went perfect. No stress. They were really chill. So
That's
here's
crazy.
here's a left field that came to me. So I was also trying to just not force Pokemon on Jamie, but just kind of like, hey, like, maybe we can throw it on. I just want you to be aware of it because honestly, like a lot of autistic people are really into Pokemon. I found out. Yeah. But he came up to me 2 days ago and he's like, it's weird. He does this like really soft voice when he like wants to ask me something sometimes and he's not sure. He's like, hey Dad, can we I was like, buddy, like just ask me, like just speak up, use your voice. And he was like, okay, can we watch Doctor Who? I was like, sure. Like I've never seen Doctor Who. I don't really know much about it. So I had to do this like mini deep dive on Doctor Who. Like, okay, I know there's all these different doctors and there was a remake at one point, and I know David Tennant's like a big one, and there's a little bit on Disney Plus, but the rest of it isn't there. And so I finally like figured out like the optimal way to watch it. And I threw that on there. And the more I watch what Jamie loves, he really likes weird monsters, like, guys in, alien costumes that would look like giant lobsters. Like he loves stuff like that. So Doctor Who's kind of like down his alley. We watched an episode like every night, and, I'm like half watching it just to make sure that nothing too weird is on there, even though everything's weird on there. But no, he's like sitting there and he's watching it and he's just like absolutely engrossed by it. And I'm like I said, I'm like half watching it. So I just like, I'm looking down, working on something. And I look up and it's like, oh, okay, there's just a big giant alien head in a vat of water talking to the doctor. And it's like, okay, look down. And it's like, okay, now we're in a big vat and there's like thousands of these diseased people in these big, containers, and they collect diseases from around the universe. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know what this is, but it's pretty cool just watching Jamie really get into it.
I thought Doctor Who was like a Dr. Seuss show for like the longest time.
the Who's.
Yeah, the Who's for Dr. Seuss and Whoville and
So I definitely have like seen that Dr. Seuss, that Doctor Who exists, but I'm just like, I don't want to care about that. There's so many seasons and stuff that I'm like, I don't want to care enough to feel like I should actually watch these.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
I
yeah,
don't.
there's some TV shows and like some hobbies that I've come across that I'm like Warhammer 40K is one thing I keep looking at, and I'm like, you know what? I bet this is amazing, and I bet it's got some really cool backstory and lore, and I'd love to get into it, but I know it'll consume my life, and I'll have to shove all my other hobbies away, and I don't want to do that. So,
Yeah.
I tried. I avoided for years and years and years. I avoided World of Warcraft
Mm,
and any online MMO, that kind of thing, because I was like, if I get into this, I don't want it to ruin me. And then
good to know
I
your
played.
limit.
I played World of Warcraft, and I went, "This is the stupidest game I've ever played in my life." And I gave it a really, really good faith effort. I cannot stand MMOs like at
No,
all.
it's a whole other it's a whole other type of game. I'm kind of with you on that. I wouldn't mind trying like FF14, I think, which Cameron really, really likes. That's what I'm like, I might give it a shot one day, but like I said, I'm just gonna yank me in, and I'll have to shove all my other hobbies aside. So
Speaking of shoving all your hobbies aside, I'm just kidding.
I was like, where's this
I was like,
segue going?
I was like, I kind of get it, Ren, but
No, actually.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
what's your
spending all
news,
your
Ren?
time on things other than your kids.
Yeah.
What's your movie
Speaking
news,
of
Ren?
kids,
That's what it
so
is.
Disney and Pixar just announced some news yesterday. That was a better one, right?
There you go. Way better.
All right. You probably already know this, Harrison. You're like our correspondent with anything Disney, I think. All right. So Disney Pixar made some announcements of some of their upcoming movies. I thought this was cool, but just to they announced 5 new movies that are coming out between now and 2029-ish, 2028. The next one is a movie called Hoppers. I have no interest in it. I think it's about bunnies. Then
Probably.
2026, like mid-year, Toy Story 5 is coming out.
What?
Do we need 5 of them? I don't know. I thought third was the last one, but
Four
No.
was not even bad, but it was kind of like, you guys are really trying to make a movie.
that's
And then Woody and Bo Peep like ran off into the sunset and were like, forget about us.
Yeah.
So like,
No, that's the thing. Like the third Toy Story movie is so good and such a perfect film to end everything on that when the fourth one came out, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I already buried this. Like I moved on. Why are you bringing this back up?
Yeah. And then the next one after that is called Gato. Don't know what that is. And then
cat.
yeah, some sort of cat.
Oh, if it's got a cat in it, Nicole's gonna be really happy about it.
Yeah, gato is cat in Spanish.
Oh, of course. And then Incredibles 3. That actually, I'm
down.
actually kind of looking forward to that. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I'm down.
And then this one, so this is 2028 and beyond, but they're gonna make a Coco 2, and we love Coco here at the house, so I'm pretty stoked about that. But yeah, I kind of feel the same exact ways you guys do about Toy Story 5. But Incredibles 3, Coco 2, those have to be good.
Yeah. No, I got confidence in it.
Well, we have an awesome banger of a movie to talk about, you guys. You guys ready to go into it?
The banger
I'm
that shouldn't be a banger.
so ready.
Okay. We've had a few days.
According to the DVD poster, it shouldn't be that good, but
My name is Tim, and this is the year that would change my life forever. Happy New Year! Happy New Year! I just didn't know it yet.
Tim, my dear son, this is going to sound strange, but there's this family secret that the men in the family can travel in time.
This is such a weird joke.
It's not a joke.
If it's true, which it isn't.
Although it is.
But if it was, which it's not.
Which it is.
How would I actually...
You go into a dark place, clench your fists, think of the moment you're going to, and you'll find yourself there.
It's going to be a complicated year.
It's going to be a complicated life.
I never know what the future holds, just like everyone else.
Time catches up to all of us.
My son.
My dad. I've tried to live every day as if it was the final day of my extraordinary, ordinary life.
It was you again.
You will. My whole life depends on it.
All right, about time. Who's Scott, this is yours, right? This one's
Yeah.
mine. Okay. All right, well, why don't you start us off? Just
Yeah.
tell us about when you first saw it, and just tell us about it.
Yeah, so I saw this one kind of on a whim, early on, married. So I mean, it was probably fairly new, probably 2014 or something like that. I didn't, see it in theaters or anything. I don't have a problem with rom-coms. They're not. I'm never gonna watch one by myself, but like, they're depending on, like any movie, some are good and some are bad. And I really like a good period drama, stuff like that. So, I've seen every version of Pride and Prejudice. I've read every version of the book, including Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. So, like a good romance is a good romance. And this one, it was just kind of like, hey, let's watch a movie tonight. And I remember just absolutely being like face punched by this movie. And I have only watched it one other time, with that one time with Paige, and then watching it for this thing. But it stuck out to me as being like really, really, really impactful. And it's a time travel movie, and I like time travel movies, so I'd categorized it in my head as like a good time travel movie. When I was thinking about it, I and rewatched it, like I don't remember anything from the first half of this movie really. Like the rom-com stuff did not leave any impact on me. It's just pretty standard fare British rom-com. But I basically remembered three scenes. There was at the very beginning when Bill Nye teaches Domhnall Gleeson how to time travel, just how underplayed it was. It was like, yeah. You just kind of go into a closet and like think about it, and then you're there, and it's not like, whoa, it's just like, and I was like, what?
Yeah, his reaction is like, what kind of joke is this?
What do you mean?
So I thought that was a fun take on time travel, because that's like, every other time travel movie, it's like, guys, there's time travel. And this movie is like, yeah, no, time travel's here, but that's not the point. So I thought that was a good intro to the time travel mechanic, that it was just like Bill Nye just being like the dad. Like, by the way, we can time travel. And then I remembered the just horrible gut feeling when he comes home and he's like erased his family and it's replaced with this other baby. And he was like, oh my God, and I just remember feeling like, and this is before I had kids, but I just remember going like, that is so unnatural and uncomfortable and horrible. And it's like a changeling or something like that, just like some Baba Yaga swapped your baby for like a goblin or something.
No, honestly, that scene, it's kind of like almost an exact opposite. We were just talking about that scene in Spirited Away when her parents turn into pigs, and you were telling us, Scott, you're like, it's this so unnatural feeling of your parents like leaving, like that's all you know who they are. And it has that very same feeling of like you come home and your kid is not your kid. It's still your kid, but it's not the kid you remember. That's a weird, just abnormal feeling that, I don't think anyone's ever felt, but still, it's just like, oh man.
And I gotta say, now watching it with three kids, like that was so uncomfortable. And I still knew, I was like, I just cannot imagine, because I was watching it, like I was laying down in bed and I had my 3-year-old just laying in bed sleeping next to me while I was watching it. And I was just imagining my 3-year-old disappearing and being replaced with someone that I should know but don't, and it freaked me out. Anyway, so that one stuck with me. And the last one that I remember is the very end of the movie when he's like, Dad, this is the last time I'm going to see you because the baby's on the way. And then he goes, and just the like really sweet underplayed interaction they have. And both of them are just like, it's a bittersweet, like, we'll never see each other again kind of thing. And then they go back, they like double jump and go back and play on the beach and just relive like a sweet memory. And I just started bawling. So anyway, I remembered that one. I just started bawling this time. And I genuinely could not stop just like sobbing and blubbering about it for like 30, 40 minutes last night. I went outside onto the back patio, and I just sat there and just was like contemplating life and like my role as a father and like what memories I have of my dad and what memories of my children. And like, you will always love your children more than your children love you, but it's not like your children don't love you. It's just a different kind of love. And anyway, I was kind of afraid that I was misremembering how impactful the end of this movie was, but it punched me probably harder than it did the first time, just because I have the added context of actually having kids. And yeah, so I'm glad that this came up. It's not like a serious time travel movie when it, you know, like 12 Monkeys or Tenet or something like
It's
that.
13 Monkeys, Scott.
Get it right, man. Get it right.
But I still put this as like probably the best actual story told with time travel, like because of just how impactful and how much I feel like it's actually changed me.
Yeah.
Both times. Like I feel like I went into fatherhood with this idea of what it meant to love your kids and want to be with them and spend time, those moments with them and stuff like that. When I watched it the first time pre having kids, and watching it again, I think it was just like, wow, I really need to just get up every day and like it's going to be my last day with them, or, you know, that kind of feeling as a father. So it was a good one.
Yeah.
That's a long intro.
Dude, that is like, that's like the white rabbit you keep chasing when you watch movies. To like get done with like I watched this with my wife, and when it was over, we just like, I mean, I sat there. She walked off, and I was just sitting there, just like staring off into the wall, like just yeah, like you said, it's a gut punch like into your heart. It's pretty powerful, and it's almost, I don't know, it's kind of a dirty trick to kind of wrap something so powerful into like some cheesy, goofy looking rom-com. Like it totally slaps you like with its left hand. Like I was so surprised at the turn that it made. But yeah, dude, the life lessons you get from this movie this is an incredible movie. The story is phenomenal.
No, I will. So I often see people will post on this subreddit called Movie Suggestions, and lots of times I'll see people make suggestions for movies. They're like, "Hey, I want to watch a movie that really has a strong shift in the middle of it to a completely different movie." And the one I see all the time, I think it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's got George Clooney in it, and it goes from like this like brothers robbing a bank storyline to like vampires at a bar. I can't remember what it's called, but but a lot of people are like, it's the biggest shift in a movie you'll ever see. But I think this movie needs to be mentioned on those suggestions way more often, because it kind of shocks me. Like, you know, I was watching the film, and you're watching the romance between, you know, the two main characters, and then they get married, and then afterwards you're like, wait, there's still half the movie left. Like most rom-com movies, like they end at the wedding. They end at them being together, you know?
Because they solved the problem. Like, what's there to be like excited about in a romance movie if it's just like day-to-day life?
Yeah.
But that's the point of this movie, is the day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's cool to see their relationship after they get married as well. Like I thought that was just, you know, just seeing their progression throughout them having kids. You know, usually you don't see that in rom-coms. You don't usually see the main couple becoming parents and then growing older and things like that. So I thought that was a really great dynamic in the film. Another thing I loved in this film was sort of it was interesting to see there were stretches of time in the film where he didn't time travel. You know, usually it was moments with this, you know, once he got married and settled and started having kids and all that stuff, there goes a really long stretch of time where he doesn't time travel anymore. And it's kind of like a little barometer of how happy he is with his life and how things are going for him. You know, the happier he is, the less he time travels. I thought that was a really cool, I don't know, just a cool little barometer as you watch the movie.
So I finished it and I was like, who the crap wrote this story that punched me so hard? Who was this guy? And so I looked up Richard Curtis, and he did Love Actually, which I watched but I genuinely don't remember anything about. I think it's just a really good, big ensemble rom-com. Not my jam, but it's obviously people really like it, and he's done a couple other movies that are similarly big and popular. But he also was the screenplay writer for Yesterday, which is another one of those movies that I was like, this movie is way more impactful than it should be. It's just also underplayed, and the underplay makes it feel stronger, I think. So I've got a soft spot for Richard Curtis's movies, which is weird,
He knows the ingredients. He knows what's gonna get you.
But I was reading that this came with him and his partner were talking about, like, if we were to die, if we knew we were gonna die tomorrow, like, what would we do today? And it was they came to the conclusion, like, honestly, we just enjoy the small moments with each other. We'd love our family. We'd go do the day-to-day things and just live life what it was. And that's what ballooned into this movie. It started with that concept, and then as a script writer and director, he was like, okay, what are we gonna do with that? And he came up with the final scene of just that, like, live the beautiful moments one more time before you go, and then wrote out the whole setup to make that make sense. And the time travel was really a metaphor for reflection, rather than just like changing things and having to deal with paradoxes and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't a sci-fi movie. It was just what mechanic can we throw in here to really emphasize reflection and living in the moment and in the present, so that when you're unhealthy, like you were saying, Harrison, when you're unhealthy and unhappy, you constantly want to change the past. But when you really live in the moment and you appreciate the time that you have, you're very present. You don't time travel anymore because you don't have the itch to change the good or the bad, because you're there for the journey. It's so beautiful to me.
That's really cool. It's a great theme. There was a few other themes too. This movie is complicated. It's kind of wild how many different things they touch on, but like, it's all woven together really well. But there was one thing that really stood out, but there's that section where he sees his sister going through her relationship problems. And then he tries to go back and fix her. And then Rachel McAdams' character, she kind of like says to him, like, hey, like, the only way that people can change is for them to like decide themselves. So there's this lesson that, like, you can't change other people's lives the way that you think you can. I mean, he kind of does rectify some things. I can't remember. This is a complex film, but
because he originally goes back in time and basically stops her from meeting the guy at the very beginning of the film who is abusing her currently. And then he thinks he fixes it. Then he comes back to the present, and that's when he realizes that his kid is not his kid anymore. And actually, Scott, I was curious, what did you think? Like, just so you know, like, in my head, you're the time travel, like, pro, like, you know everything about this. So I was just wondering, like, what did you think about the whole concept of, like, oh, if you go back past, before your kid was born, you're going to end up with a different kid? Is that trippy? Is that a cool little rule that they put in there? Like, how did you feel when they talked about that?
So this is going to be a theme that I'm going to bring up each movie. So thank you for segueing into it. But, like, a good time travel movie has to follow its own rules, right? And that's actually the reason I didn't put Back to the Future on my list, even though it's, like, hands down the most amazing and enjoyable time travel movie in existence. It just, across the series, across all three movies, mostly in the second movie, they break so many rules just to be fun. And, like, the movie's still great, but it's just, like, I don't categorize it in my, like, really well-made time travel movie category anymore. In this movie, because the time travel is so underplayed, the thing that they do is, like, the one rule that they hold fast to, I think it was cool because it has the implications of altering your present in a way mattered to the rest of the theme of the movie. Like, it was about your intimate personal relationships with your close friends and family, your day-to-day life. And for you to selfishly try to change something altered, like, the entire build up and like the meat, the realness of your family. I think that because there was really only one rule in this movie, and it was like, and Bill Nye, his character, his dad, just kind of like throws out, it's like, oh yeah, when you go back, if you change anything, little bit of at conception with the sperm and the egg is so chaotic and so precise that any change in that can change who your kid is. You know, and it's this huge butterfly effect of, you know, spiraling feedback loops and stuff. And I love that there's one rule, really, and one rule is simple enough to understand for this rom-com, that the time travel ends up supporting the story rather than taking over the story. From the game design perspective, I love also that, like, if that were a game, it's so simple that you can wrap your head around the concept super easily. And it's not this big, huge, complex, like, I mean, like, the exact opposite of this is like Tenet or something, where it's like, I still don't know what's happening, but it was fun to watch. And, you know, and it's not like a 12 Monkeys, like what happened no matter what in any timeline kind of thing. And yeah, I think that's probably a really big roundabout way of saying, like, they did follow their rules, and the rules were really simple, and the rules were there to support the theme. Like, everything went hand in hand.
Yeah. So just as a quick note on that, then I want to get back to Katie. I like that they used a child's birth to be those big monumental moments, because when you have kids, that is a huge monumental moment, and doing anything to subvert that or change it, you know, has big consequences. But like I was saying, so he goes back in time, notices that his kid changed, and then he goes and talks to his dad about it. And then he has this realization where he's like, I can't go back and change her whole life. And I honestly, from this moment forward, I cried the entire film. Like, from the moment he basically had a realization, is like, I have to let her go through this abuse. I have to allow her to crash her car and get in that accident so that she can make this decision to be better. From that moment forward, I just died. Like, I was just crying just constantly the whole film. But
I also love the implication. Like, okay, so there's two things. The first is, everyone has a friend like that, a friend or sibling or something that just, you're just watching them crash their life in slow motion, and knowing that there's nothing you can do except try to be a good friend or whatever. This is a theme that Paige wrote heavily into her book. You know, it's just really, really hard to watch that, and there's consequences for that. I also really love that it's so real, right? Everyone can relate to that. And I love that he simultaneously is like, this was wrong for me to try and fix her, and I feel the immediate impact as well. Like, that's really good script writing, I feel like, it's not only like, hey, you did something wrong by time traveling and messing with the timeline in a way that shouldn't happen. It was, you messed with the timeline in a way that shouldn't happen, and also you messed with your own family. And it's like weird, because you can't even like vilify this cute little boy that replaced his cute little girl, because it's like a cute little toddler, but it's not his toddler. And so he immediately just like went backwards and reset it. You know, like, it was like, don't try and play God in this. I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
It's so cool. And I love the moment afterwards as well, when the car crash happens, she's in the hospital, and they just sit by her bed, and they're just like, you need to decide that you need to change. And they're just like, we're not leaving until, you know, you have that realization. And when she does, it's just like this huge weight off your shoulders. It's a beautiful, beautiful scene. Another thing that I really like about this film related to this, there's a lot of times where like Tim is talking to his dad, and they're like having a conversation, and all of a sudden they slow down, and his dad's like, you know, how many times have we had this conversation? And he goes, like, a lot. We've had this conversation a lot. One thing I really like about this film is, I feel like it doesn't show us everything that happens. It doesn't show us every single decision, every single scene. I feel like there's a lot of things happening off screen. And, my headcanon moment during the whole moment where he's trying to save his sister, I can almost imagine him trying to find a way to not let that car crash happen, trying to find a way and repeatedly going back in time, trying to stop something, this abuse from happening to her, and him coming to the realization that he couldn't. Like, that's really, really strong and powerful to me, because it's this self-acceptance of like, I have to allow this to occur, because she has to make the decision.
We do that in our own heads over and over.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like, how many times? Yeah, as a dumb example, like, how many times you think back to when you were like 15 years old or something, and you said something to somebody, and it was like absolutely stupid what you said to them, and you don't even know who. I can't even remember that person's name anymore from high school, but like the way that she reacted and walked away, and then our relationship was never the same or something. Like, did I absolutely F that up or something? Like, just those random things that you just like, those moments that were really embarrassing or bad or whatever, that you just think about for the rest of your life. And it's like, there's nothing you can do about that. Like,
Yeah.
even try and fix that now would be just absolutely crazy, but they're formative, right? We were talking about coming of age stories when we were watching Detroit City Rock. Yeah, Detroit Rock City. And like, the number of times I was like, yeah, this is a great coming of age story for not me, but Ren was like, no, this was my story. and just like, Ren, would you go back in time and change those if you had the ability to time travel?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hey, everybody, just popping in real quick. If you could hit that like and subscribe button, that would really help us out a lot. But either way, let's get back to the show. Just to go along with that, I really like that Tim's kind of his maturity throughout the film really shows in terms of how he uses the time travel. Like the whole section in the very beginning, when he meets up with the young Margot Robbie, by the way, that kind of flew me for a flip. I was like, whoa, like that's probably one of her early films. Like him going back in time to make sure that, when she asked for him to put sunscreen on her back, he's like, okay, I want to go back in time, make sure I act really cool, make sure I don't squirt the sunscreen all over her back. Like, I want to get it right. Just him constantly going back and trying to do these little things and trying to fix and line things up the way he wants them to eventually, having moments later in life where he doesn't time travel. Or I don't know. I really like the moment when he lives through a whole day and then he time travels back and relives the whole day again and just tries to make it a better day. I thought that's such a cool moment. That's such, like, trying to think of somebody, like figuring that out and writing that script and writing that scene is just like mind blowing to me. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
It's such a cool concept.
That's really cool. I had a note written down, but you could also read this movie as like a guide on how to gracefully prepare for the inevitable loss that we're all going to go through in life.
I disagree with that. I will never have loss in my life.
You know what, Scott? We just need to be like you. We just need to make declarations and stick to it. We're raising a bunch of quitters nowadays,
Throw that one out. Sorry, guys.
This is my affirmation in the mirror every morning. I will not have loss. I will not have loss.
That's like whenever I get sick.
Right.
Whenever I get sick and it really sucks, I'm just like, you know what? I'm never getting sick again. I'm done.
Yeah. But to take those times when you're alone. And what's cool about this movie, like I did this today. I was walking to the library and I had to park really far. So I'm walking all the way up, and then I kind of just looked up in the sky. I was like, dude, it is freaking beautiful out. I was like, oh my God, look at those flowers. And I was looking at nature, and I was taking this moment to be in awe of everything in our life, basically. And I think that if a film can help me just do that one time, I think it's really important to watch stories like this. And I'm glad that we watched this, because I'll tell you right now, never, I would have never watched this. There's no way, especially. So I went into this blind. All I knew is looking at the cover, which we've already talked about. But like after I watched the movie, I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, dude, that trailer makes this movie look so dumb. And they like hide the fact in the trailer or even on the back of the DVD. I read this. They don't mention anything about the father-son aspect or changing the past for anyone else in your life, and like they kind of hide it behind this rom-com. Which also, I want to talk about Rachel McAdams just for a second.
Go.
She is awesome in this movie, by the way.
Yeah.
But I remember, okay, so she's in The Notebook,
Okay.
she's in The Vow, she's also in The Time Traveler's Wife, okay?
Yeah.
So in my head, like I'm in real time, I remember when all these movies were coming out, and like you're just like, okay, Rachel McAdams is now the rom-com queen. She's going to do this forever. Oh, and she dabbles in time travel also. That's cool. So I think me totally assuming that and this is a rom-com, but I think that she really took this role because it's not solely a rom-com and it diverts into this other more elaborate, beautiful story in the end. And one of the reasons I think that is because shortly after this movie, she is in a movie called Southpaw. Did you guys see that? So she's married to
Sounds
Jake
really familiar.
Gyllenhaal. He's a boxer. And I remember seeing that in the movie theater. And spoiler, not really. Within the first 10 minutes, she dies. In the trailer, there is no way for you to know that Rachel McAdams is going to die that early in the movie. And I feel like she used her typecastness as a weapon to throw the viewer off for the spin in this. Am I making sense? I think she is genius for doing that. I guarantee that was a choice that she made because she doesn't want to get pigeonholed into these same roles over and over. And I think she saw that she was doing that with The Notebook and The Vow and all that stuff. So anyways, that was impressive. Like in retrospect, just looking at her filmography, I was like, well played.
Yeah.
That was good. You threw me off.
So fun little fact, actually, she wasn't the first choice for this film. The role originally went to Zoe Deschanel. She was going to be in this film that part, and just scheduling conflicts, and then Rachel McAdams got the part. Which honestly, I think Zoe would have done a great job as well. But you're right. I think Rachel did a great job.
It would have been a very different movie. Like
It would have been a little quirkier, I think.
yeah, because I mean,
that's her thing.
I've got a crush on Zoe Deschanel. Like, let's just be clear with that.
Yeah.
But I've got a crush on her because she's quirky and like spunky and a little weird, and she's got big eyeballs.
Yeah.
Very big eyeballs.
Speaking of crushes, I blacked out for like 30 seconds after you said Margot Robbie.
Oh yeah, dude.
You would just die. You'd die.
Yeah. All the blood left my brain at once. It was crazy.
Right. What do you guys think about movies with narrators in it? Do you like movies that when there's a narrator? Because personally, I absolutely love it. Maybe it's just because it's like, oh, like sweet, I don't have to think. Like the narrator will tell me what's going on and who's who. That's me just being lame.
Gonna hold your
I don't know.
hand.
It almost gives the movie a personality along with the characters, and I don't know. It just adds another layer to the film and makes it really interesting and really fun. It makes it way more fun. Like think of George of the Jungle. Like having a narrator in George of the Jungle
Dude,
just
that's
makes
so
the
weird you
film
just said that.
so good. Did I pull that out of your head?
Bad guy falls in poop. Classic element of comedy. Dude, I was thinking about that like an hour ago. Hey, so about the narrator thing, I haven't really thought about it that much, but I will say that it bugs me in documentaries more than regular like cinema, like film. But yeah, if it's effective, if it works, it works. I don't have a preference about it, but honestly, when you said that, I forgot there was narration in this movie. So
yeah,
I
did a similar thing. I went, wait, and because my first thought was George of the Jungle. I was like, are you arguing with the narrator? Did not.
Yeah, but I guess it is Tim's story. So yeah.
And so Tim was narrating it periodically, right? It would.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting how the number of times, like when it was used, was like he was I don't know, covering time, or like telling not showing, right?
Yeah.
And that's the cardinal sin is telling not showing. But sometimes it's really convenient to jump time and connect things together, or to just kind of give some foundation for a scene without needing to spend 5 minutes showing that same thing. I also think that it, like, I don't know, it gives it kind of a grounded memoir feel, like he's not going to die in the movie because he's telling the story. You know, there's some practical side to it. Like if he's talking about this fondly, then
Yeah. I'm going to give you just a little pushback on that, actually, because in your Roper report, we kind of have a narrator, and well,
oh snap!
You're right.
it's a little different.
But it's found footage narration.
What a
There you go.
trope subversion.
I wanted to. What is your? Have you guys seen anything else with? Help me with his name. Domhnall.
Domhnall Gleeson.
Domhnall.
I mean, I saw he's in Harry Potter, but he's like in the background. You don't really care. He's also in Star Wars, and his part is just no. He's incredible in the 7th film in Force Awakens. Like he plays this like he does this like dictator Hitler speech, and it is just
I remember
like you're sitting there watching it, and my eyes were just like the size of dinner plates. I was like, holy shit, this guy's good. And then then he's terrible.
Like,
then he's just terrible.
Like everything in that whole trilogy, it was just every script after was just like a big dumpster fire of revisions and different creative opinions, and his character got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
He was in a film called Ex Machina, and that's I haven't seen it, but every time I see a reference to him, every time I see a reference to Ex Machina, I'm like, that looks really cool. I feel like I'm gonna feel gross at the end of it, but I think it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I thought he was an unknown when I saw that, but yeah, he's been all over the place. His dad is in tons of movies. I keep blanking on his name.
Bill Nye?
No. Wait, look him up. Look up Gleason. His last name is Gleason.
I know exactly. He was actually in Harry Potter as well, actually.
Yeah, he's in a ton of movies.
Let's see. I'll look it up real quick. It's not Jack Gleason. Brendan Gleeson? Is that who it is?
I think so.
I think it's Brendan Gleeson. Yeah, no, he's in a ton of. He's a really strong actor as well.
There was one interview I saw. This made me respect Domhnall. This made me respect him way more, but they were doing like press for this movie when it was coming out, and they were like, so what's one of the first things that comes to mind when you think of About Time, the Richard Curtis film? And he responds with Payday. And he like starts laughing. And he's like, no. He kind of laughs it off. Like he's like, no, I'm just kidding. No, I really am just kidding. Like he didn't get paid enough. But maybe respect him more. There's just like, yeah, this is not my jam. Like I've said, like the first half is just pure rom-com. Really tough for me to watch. There's something about me more than the actor. He did excellent, but like it's funny. I wrote down a note. I was like, this guy is Hugh Grant reincarnated with red hair. Like the like sappy, pithy, like British dialogue, banter, whatever that he does. By the way, Richard Curtis also directed Notting Hill with Hugh Grant, so it's like
I remember that one.
In this wheelhouse, this like thing that he had, this machine.
Four Weddings and a Funeral with Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
And Love Actually with Hugh Grant.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Growing up, I watched actually a decent amount of rom-coms with mom. I think I watched like 2 Weeks Notice and Notting Hill just over and over and over again.
I'm dreadfully sorry. I can't.
I mean, you're not.
You wouldn't bother. I mean,
you're not wrong.
After you.
You're not wrong, but like I don't know. There was a couple of cute moments that I really liked. I really liked the whole dinner party in the dark. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if those are actually real or if that's just a movie thing, but I thought that was pretty cool. The other moment, which is actually a fun little trivia fact, they when she's like, "Hey, do you want to walk with me to my car?" And they start walking and they're just talking, and then they end up in front of her house, and she's like, "Yeah, someone dropped me off." And somebody mapped that out because I guess either the restaurant's real or where they filmed, where they filmed was and where they ended up, and it's like a 6 mile distance in real life. And I was like, that's pretty funny actually to think about them walking for 6 miles together. um,
Wait, I have one
anyways,
more note on Domhnall Gleeson.
yeah,
So I was looking at his other films, and there's a 2016 documentary called Earth's Greatest Spectacles that he narrates. And there was a Letterboxd review I just had to share, but it says, by the way, it's supposed to be a really good documentary, but this is the Letterboxd review. It says, I want to snort Domhnall's voice. It would have the same effect as Coke, to be honest. And I thought that's pretty funny. Like, he does have a good voice.
oh yeah, no, most definitely.
But yeah, I like his performance in this movie.
Another thing I really appreciated in this was when the father reveals he can, the family has time travel in it. I love that he talks to his son. He's like, yeah, I remember when I started doing, I went back and I just read every book that I could possibly get my hands on. And I was like, that's the most like nerdy, awesome thing to do with time travel. Cause you can do it so quickly and so like effectively. It's like, yeah, I could just go back to the beginning of the day and pick a different book to read the day. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
No, I would definitely do stuff like that where it's just like, no, it's just more efficient. Like,
Well,
it just makes
to
my
be
life
honest,
more efficient.
I would go get more money.
Yeah. Yeah. If you could just do something to make money
Stock
and not
market
have
or
any,
betting.
yeah, just dude. Now this reminds me of Back to the Future too.
Yeah.
But you totally use this. This kind of segues into another thought I had, but like we talked about like when he sees his changed child and just like the horror of like not recognize your own kid. But when that happened, I thought the movie was going to take like a dark turn, or I could imagine how they could have. Have you guys seen Click?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was going to go down that route of like this existential dread, this irreversible like time void that he kind of. That movie's like sad.
Yeah, Click is.
It sucks also, so I'm glad they didn't go that route. But I feel like this pattern, like these small little constraints and rules that Richard Curtis put in place into the story, they could make so many different stories and movies just with what they have right here. It's really cool. I'm glad I didn't go that route, but it made me think. But Tim, his character is the most ethical time traveler ever. Like,
see, yeah,
anyone could see how someone could rely on that power way too hard, use it for bad, use it for good, whatever. But like all Tim is focused on is falling in love, not sleeping with someone, not scoring or whatever. It's I just want to fall in love.
yeah,
And yeah, that's interesting. And it's very sweet.
I really love the scene where his siren song shows up and he's already like not technically engaged or whatever, but he's living with Rachel McAdams, and she shows up and they go out to dinner and he has a great time and she's totally interested in him. And like, I think it's great for him, because it doesn't matter to anybody else. That's the cool part is he decides, no, I'm not going to go and sleep with you reverse time like it never happened, sweep it under a rug, and then go to propose to this girl.
Yeah.
Like, he goes, no, that would be wrong for me because it wouldn't have any effect on his girlfriend, on her. None of it wouldn't have happened.
No one would know. Yeah.
exactly.
I love that for his character.
Yeah, what an idiot. Margot Robbie.
No, I think they did a pretty good job in terms of him using his powers and while he's involved, getting involved with Rachel McAdams' character, Mary, because kind of the way they set it up was that he naturally goes on that first date with her and they hit it off perfectly. Like he gets her number at the end. They have a very strong connection. And then he decides to go back in time and help his friend out with his play. And then he spends kind of the next, chunk of the movie trying to kind of recreate that moment he had with her. And I just think it was important that they set it up beforehand. Like, hey, like these two do have a connection together. Like he can achieve this again. So it wasn't, I don't know. I didn't feel like he was like, oh, let me find a way to manipulate the situation to have her end up with me. I felt like he was just like, no, I'm just trying to recreate a moment that we've already had. she just didn't know that it's happened. But I don't know. I feel like they did a pretty good job of making this movie not creepy because I feel like they could have in terms of his
Oh yeah.
relationship with Mary.
Yeah.
I mean, it also helps that he's like the most awkward time travel ever. Like giving a guy who's super awkward around women time travel powers, just leads to great, funny situations.
Yeah.
The calm of the realm.
Here's a question I was wondering throughout the film, and I think I have an answer for it. But what do you think the purpose of the uncle was? Because so you got the mom, you got the dad, then you have the uncle, and he sort of is just there. I really love just probably the most beautiful moment one of the most beautiful moments of the film to me was when the father passes away and they go to talk to the uncle and he's like, I remember that day he told me he loved me at your bachelor at your wedding. And he's like, I think that was the most perfect moment of my life. And I don't know, that really hit me super hard. But I don't know, like I was trying to think about why he was there, and I'm kind of curious. I'm assuming he can time travel too. That was kind of my inclination because he's part of that family. I don't know if that's true or not. But in my mind, I feel like he kind of shows you like maybe, I don't know, maybe he went too far with his time traveling. Maybe he never got married and had kids because he was like, well, if I have kids, then I can't time travel back to these specific memories when I was younger or something like that. Maybe that's why he is the way he is. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing things out and seeing if anything sticks, but I
Interesting.
think there's something there. There's something there.
Yeah, it's like maybe it's so funny, like your mind goes there. Like I never would have thought about that character ever again in my life. But I think he's just there for those special moments. But yeah, it kind of makes you wonder if there's like a backstory to him or
Yeah.
I didn't even put the connection that he was related and that maybe he could time travel as well. But yeah.
I gotta say,
I don't have
that he's the most British side character.
Oh yeah. Most
and
definitely.
I kind of love that he's the Mr. Bean, or like kind of that there's a number of characters in like Monty Python sketches and stuff that are just kind of like that level of spacey, or like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like the old grandparents in the bed that never get up, and it's like fireflies or whatever.
Well,
and I think that there's so I think there's one layer where it's like they're a quirky. British movies do old people in film better than American movies do, and I think it's just a more traditional culture. And there's more respect for old people as opposed to Bubba Hotep, where the whole movie was like, we hate old people, they're gonna rot and die in a old person home. So I think that there's that, and it just fits with the ensemble cast of like quirky people in your family that you don't hate, but like they're kind of useless in some way, but they're also endearing because they're quirky and useless. But I love that I did also kind of have the thought, like, I wonder if he can time travel and why is that not part of this story? I do love that his moment where he says that was the greatest day of my life when he said he loved me is one of those, like, why do we withhold telling people we love them? Why?
mm-hmm.
Great point.
Why don't we just like hug everyone we see, and just be like, dude, I'm glad you were born all the time. Why do we need to wait for birthdays to just shower honesty on people? Because all it does is uplift, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that was pretty powerful.
Yeah, no, I wonder if it's like me just, I don't know, maybe I'm being naive or something, but back in the very first episode, one of the things I was talking about was I feel like I grew up with the thought process of like, oh, when directors make a movie, everything in the film has a purpose and there's a reason behind it being in the movie. And, as I've gotten older and as I've, read up on more things, sometimes it's just not true. Sometimes characters are in films because maybe they're just cool, or what they weren't planning on this character being that important, or
because
things
they
like
love
that.
rocks.
Exactly. Like, just in my head, I was like, no, everything has to have a purpose. And, so in my head, I'm looking at the uncle and I'm like, well, there's got to be a reason for him being there. Maybe he's not. But I had an experience like this actually recently. I posted up on a on two different film groups, and I was asking them. I was asking about Paris, Texas. Listeners, if you haven't listened to that episode yet, go listen to it. But there's a one of the characters in it has a French accent, and the movie's called Paris, Texas, and there's this whole discussion about Paris and all this stuff. There's kind of a theme around it. And I posted on that group, and I was just like, "Hey, why does she have a French accent? Does that mean anything?" Blah blah blah. And the amount of responses I got were just like, "Well, the actress has a French accent, so that's why the character has one." I was just like, "Okay, like maybe I am just being looking. I'm not. It's not that deep, Harrison. But
Don't let him drag you down. Don't
don't let
him.
him
Don't let him
be
do that.
pretentious
It's like,
about it."
hey, be dumber, man. Stop thinking about it. It's
I
horrible
know.
advice.
Yeah, I got two things to say about that. The first
Go.
is my question is, does the uncle make the movie better? And I think yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he's there. But also, there's a reason why literature, and especially impactful literature, is studied. It's not necessarily to find out what's true. It's what does it do for us, right? What does art do to change who we are? What does it help us see the world better? Aristotle called this Aristotle said the highest thing you can do in life is seek the theoretic life, the theoretical life, which I think, oh man, I've got to brush up on my Greek. Hegemonia, I believe, is the term for the theoretical life. And today we would call that the higher levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So when you get your base food, shelter, security all squared away, then happiness comes from stretching and living like philosophy and spirituality and art. Those three things, the peak of humanity, everything can be so base if we want it to be. This whole movie could just be about trying to run around scoring with a bunch of chicks because you can time travel back, but that's not what this movie is about. This movie is about exploring the beauty of what life is, purposely choosing to live higher than the base humanity, like nature that we're at. And so when you are asking questions like the Paris, Texas question and stuff, I think that on one hand, there's is this what the director wanted it to be? And the answer is probably no, the actress had a French accent, so it doesn't matter. And that's the base answer. It's accurate, it's true, whatever, but does that inspire you to live a more, I don't know, higher tier life? No. What does is thinking through, like, what are the implications of that? Like, why would she? Is there something deeper? And it doesn't have to be the artist's intent. What did you take from it? How did it change you? This is the whole death of the artist argument. I believe that movies, games, comics, shows, novels, all these things can be as base as we want them to be, or we can look deeper, and it doesn't have to be factual. It doesn't have to be true. It just has to make us reach higher.
Yeah, like that uncle, like maybe we can't like come to an agreement on what the heck his purpose of the story is, but when he said that line, like all three of us got emotional at that when he says that.
Yeah.
So there's something there. There's some truth there. And maybe that's what his purpose was to just get the tears rolling.
Yeah. Just have that moment.
Yeah. I wanted to point out too, we mentioned it earlier, but one of the most beautiful scenes that says so much in the imagery, but the wedding scene where it starts raining, dude, that scene, I was just like, this is magic. Yeah. And actually, I didn't even realize. Yeah. Allie was like, well, there's that dumb cover you hate. And I was like, oh, yeah, they're here at the wedding.
In this scene that I love.
Yeah. And this is an amazing scene. But yeah, it made me think of like most bridezillas would just crash and burn at the thought of their wedding day just being ruined by the rain. And they just go with it because they've learned to just go with the punches, not take life too seriously, be grateful. You only live once. And like, how many memories? I bet you if we all were challenged to put pencil to paper and write down 5 memories of things that sucked that you think back of on like fondly today, it'd be easy because yeah, they just stick with you. Whether the fact that like I'll think of like going on a hunting trip, didn't see a single elk. We had like 80-mile-per-hour winds. We ran out of wood. Like the toilet blocked. Like all this crap happened, and it was one of the greatest hunting trips I've ever been on in my life. But during the time, I was like wondering if I was gonna die. Like, but that's just one example. But I love that
literally
wedding scene.
every Boy Scout camp out.
Yeah, getting
Yeah,
your
pretty much.
survival merit badge. They just plop you in a forest and give you a space blanket.
I did not sleep the entire night.
Yeah, me either. Yeah.
Jeez.
But another thing I was thinking about, when it's raining and it shows, all that wedding cake like ruined, like I still would have eaten like 4 of those cupcakes.
They're just that good.
That's what was going through my mind. Yeah.
Let's see. I got a couple lines from the movie I wanted to. I'm not interested in a life without your father. That really punched me in the face. That one hurt me bad. Look at Jesus and how he turned out. I thought that was pretty funny.
Can I stop you right there? We haven't talked about Bill Nye yet.
Dude, I love that actor. He is so freaking good. Like, I feel like he's one of those actors, like, just turn the camera on and go. You just need him. That's all you need. So good.
I feel like he's on the level of Ossie Davis. Like, he's just old, seasoned, been in movies forever.
The anchor.
He's just like, an anchor on set. I cannot think of a single movie that I've seen him in that I was not impressed with his role.
Yeah.
What else is he in?
Pirates of the Caribbean. He's the octopus face.
I can see his face. Okay, yeah.
He's in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He's Slotty Bot Fast.
I haven't seen that.
Who makes the little fiddly bits, the fjords, all the little fiddly bits. He won an award for that. He's just like a really big British actor, and he's got the name Bill Nye, but he's not the science guy. And he's in Love Actually, like he's just a good actor. He's just a good actor.
Yeah, the New Year's kiss scene that the movie starts off with, like I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be a tough movie. And then like the dad is introduced, and I wrote, the dad is stunningly perfect for this role. Like his mannerisms, just like his energy and how he talks, and I was like,
gangly.
Yeah, and like I was like, dude, this
gangly.
I was like, all right, I'm not tempted to turn the movie off now, and he just kind of sucked me back in. It was good.
Yeah.
Speaking of quotes, I only have one, but in the beginning they make fun of him for having red hair, and they're like, nah, he's too orange, and I thought that was like my favorite.
What is it? The dad says something. He's like, the first truly admitted ginger on the field when they're playing table tennis. I thought that was pretty funny. Openly, yeah. The first openly ginger player in this tournament.
Yeah, but both of my kids have red hair, so only I can laugh at that.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I'm a little offended that you think that's funny.
Let me unlaugh that.
Oh my God.
So I love so if you go back and watch this movie a second time, good luck. The first half is not as good as the second, like we know that, but there are little tidbits throughout that foreshadow to what the ending will be like. And the opening scene, I think, is really great because Tim, the main character, is just basically describing this like really boring, perfect life that he had on the beach, where they would just like have tea all day and skip rocks and stuff like that. And in the end, you're like, oh, that's just the dad going back in time and just making every day about spending it with his kids.
Yep.
And that's like so profoundly beautiful to me that the kids had no idea that he was doing that, but he was just prioritizing family. So I've said this multiple times. There is nothing in life that I care more about than my family. And the reason I went out, I was thinking in the depths of my despair and existential questioning as I was sitting on the back patio at midnight last night, just sobbing for way longer than I needed to.
I'm jealous.
I was like, why has this impacted me so much? And I had this like in hindsight, it's the stupidest aha moment. But as a parent, it was like, I realized that I just worry about my kids' future all the time. I worry, am I spending time with them well? Am I prepping them for the world that is going to be overrun with AI and, like war and,
Don't get
like
started.
all stuff, like all these things, right? Like
totally.
what am I making sure that their emotional and physical needs are being met? Am I balancing, doing like this, helping my wife write novels with spending time with the kids, making sure just all the things, everything that you think about all the time and you just don't think about if you don't want to like get all twisted up and stuff like that. But this movie absolutely highlighted how much all the details don't really matter as much, right? Like they matter, obviously. They matter, like, yes, if you want your kids to be active, you got to make sure they're playing soccer or in jujitsu or playing an instrument or something like that. But like stressing out about that and making sure that they get there on time and you're yelling at them and like, get your freaking shoes on. What are you, all that kind of stuff. Like none of that matters. And you're just like, this is so dumb because the important stuff is, did you love your kids? Did you spend time with them? Did you, I don't know, selfishly, without codependently, play table tennis with them every chance you got, And I was thinking about that, my kids blew up playing Minecraft or whatever, but I was like, why don't I sit down and play Minecraft with my kids?
Yeah.
I don't need to do it a ton. Just like my kid asks me every day if I'll play Minecraft with him, and I'm just always too busy. And I'm genuinely too busy, but maybe I'm the one that's effed up. Maybe I should just sit down and play Minecraft.
Yeah. It's funny. One of my precious memories about my dad was when we sat down and he learned how to play Age of Empires with me. And we set up a local network and we played. He was in his office, I was in my bedroom, and we were playing Age of Empires, and I distinctly remember Fog of War was on, so we couldn't see each other, and I sent my troops through his base, and I heard him in the other room go, "Oh my god!" and he like freaked out. But
That's awesome.
like just something simple like that, I don't know. I always remember that moment, and I love it. And no, and I had a cool moment with Jamie today. See, I didn't play Minecraft growing up. I don't really know anything about it, but sometimes Jamie will come up to me and he'll ask me like, "Hey, how do I do X, Y, and Z?" All right, here we go. So I have to go on YouTube and I have to learn how to play Minecraft. I have to learn how to do this. And today I learned how to make a teleporting block, like how to move, your character from one position to the other with a click of a button. Like it was a cool moment. And then he sat down and I showed him how to do it. And then literally 10 minutes later, I walked past him and he's sitting there and he's punching in all the coordinates and figuring out. He's like, I want my character to go from this building to this building when I hit this button. And it was really cool. It's a beautiful moment. So I don't know. Take every moment with your kids, basically. Yeah.
Space at P space Minecraft : command block.
Negative.
Enter.
Yeah. Then negative 68 by negative 44 and all that good stuff.
Me and my boys played Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was so fun, dude. It was so fun. And it was funny. Cash, my oldest, he was like, dude, I'm like so good at this. And then we like finished the level. It's like, congratulations, player one, which was Cash. I was like, you killed the least amount of bad guys. And I like tried to press A before he saw it and he didn't see it. And I was like, nice.
There you go. Keep it alive, man. Keep it alive.
Yeah, I was like, let him believe it. But
so good,
let's give our final thoughts on the movie. Should I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. I just gotta say, like, every movie that we sit down and talk about and deep dive and make up philosophies from, mostly on my end,
seeking that theoretic life,
yeah, has been really powerful. And I feel like every movie, like down to like Jungle Book, we've been able to like take these cool little lessons from and learn from it. And hopefully the listeners feel the same way. But this movie is incredible.
Yeah,
I am so glad I watched it. I don't even know what second place is, but this is the number one rom-com I've ever seen in my entire life. I can honestly say that. I don't even know what comes second. They're not my jam, but this movie pulled it off in some way. It was great. A lot of the dialogue just makes my skin crawl sometimes. Just how like quirky. Like I'm not in dating mode, so when I see people dating and like flirting, sometimes I'm just like, oh my god, gouge my eyeball out with a cross. Like, but
I already won.
but that being said, I appreciate this movie. The performances were great. Domhnall Gleeson did exactly what he should have. I think, yeah, just everything was done to a T. Margot Robbie's like breakthrough was just after this and Wolf of Wall Street. It's kind of cool to see her in this. And I want to give this like a 5 out of 5 in like the life lesson department, but overall I'm going to give it a 4-star for myself, just because the first hour it's tough for me to watch. But the overall message, I can't take anything away from the movie. I'm just talking about for myself. But thank you for putting this on the list. I cannot never would have watched this otherwise, and I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, most definitely. I would say this movie is extremely powerful. Like basically from the moment that the father gave the speech at the wedding forward, I was crying and just losing my shit. Like it was a really cool moment. And like Nicole, actually, it's kind of interesting. Like out of all these movies, these are the movies Nicole is like, no, I want to watch that with you. It's all these like time travel movies we have on our list. So I'm excited to watch those with her. And she was just like, oh my gosh, you're broken. Are you okay? I'm like, hello, I'm okay. No, this movie's a 5 out of 5 for me. Just 100% all the way. Like honestly, even the first half, like the rom-coms scenes and everything, I love those. Yeah, I love this movie all the way through, and I'm excited. I don't know, for some reason, this is one of those movies where I'm excited to watch it again, and I almost feel like I don't have to mentally prepare myself to watch it. I feel like it's like, no, I'm ready for this. Like I want to watch this. I want to feel these feelings again, because they're just that powerful and that amazing.
Well said.
Yeah, the first half of this movie to me, I think is good. I'm just disinterested. I can't say anything about it is poorly done or they should have made a different choice. It's just not made for me, right? But that said, I don't think the second half would be powerful if it didn't have it, like Ren said. I think that this movie really should be exactly what it is all the way through, for you to set up and just like nestle into this cozy little story of this awkward ginger falling in love with a cute, normal Rachel McAdams, and just two kind people living normal poor person life in the UK. Like it's great. And then once they get married on, like, this is one of the deepest, most powerful stories about what it actually feels like to be a parent. Yeah. Like, no pretending. Like, if you want to convey to someone who just like, what's it like being a parent? No one asks that. But if they did, and you wanted them to feel not the literalness, because there's not a lot of parenting in this movie, but like, what does it feel like to be a parent? What matters to you? What occupies your mind? This movie does it's incredible.
Yeah.
So, I would probably also put this as a 4, but I still think it's one of the most impactful movies ever made.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Most definitely.
A banger.
Pretty much. Well, here, I got to get rolling, guys.
Yeah.
It's great chatting with you guys. I'm really excited for Frequency for our next episode. I think it's going to be another emotional roller coaster. Good father-son. we're just going down.
I'm so excited.
I'm gonna be the black sheep in this one. I hate Frequency.
We need one at least.
Gotta have one, right?
We need one damp rag.
Every movie that Ren loves, I hate.
Awesome.
All right, guys. I'll see you around. I love you.
Have a good night.
Peace and love.
Later, brother.
That's a wrap on another episode of Cinema Slime. We hope you enjoyed it. This episode was a production by your hosts, Harrison Jensen, Ren Jensen, and Scott Shepard. Harrison handles the mixing, editing, and production, and Ren, that's me, takes care of the art and design. Want to join the conversation? Let's connect. Find us on Discord for film discussions, movie recommendations, and everything cinema. Be sure to subscribe and leave a comment, and you can also connect with us on social media and show your support on Buy Me a Coffee, and we'll give you a shout out if you'd like. All links can be found in the episode notes.